Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. This is awesome. I'm sorry. This report is so awesome. It's wild because Ronna Romney McDaniel got canned, of course, from the RNC. Well, she stepped down after talking to Donald Trump and so on. She went on the news afterwards saying some crazy things, but she has been hired, apparently, by NBC or MSNBC. Anyways, the NBC media conglomerate, right, to be a contributor. Now, what's crazy about this is she's not done enough damage to Republicans for those at NBC, because there's a mutiny taking place right now over hiring Ronna Romney McDaniel. Yes, the lady who could not win an election to save her life, the woman who spent money on hairdos, private jets, and alcohol, and she's not done enough damage to the Republican Party for them. Let's start with this interview with Kristen Welker. It's wild.
Right, well, let's talk about the election now. Donald Trump says one of his first acts, if he is reelected to a second term, would be, quote, to free those charged and convicted of crimes related to January 6th. Do you support that?
I want to be very clear. The violence that happened on January 6th is unacceptable.
You know, I agree with her on this point. In fact, I would say that shooting an unarmed lady, that kind of violence is unacceptable. I would say that beating an unarmed lady with a stick to the point of leaving her for dead is unacceptable. I would say that shooting into the line and putting a hole right through Joshua Black's cheek with a rubber bullet when they were just an assembled line, not breaching, that is unacceptable violence.
It doesn't represent our country. It certainly does not represent my party. We should not be attacking the Capitol. We should not be having violence. I said it that day. I put a statement out that day that this is not acceptable. If you attacked our Capitol and you've been convicted, then that should stay.
So then, but to the question though, do you disagree with Trump saying he's going to free those who've been charged and convicted?
I do not think people who committed violent acts on January 6th should be freed.
I get it now. Ronna is saying that Michael Byrd, Lieutenant Michael Byrd, who shot an unarmed lady, Ashley Babbitt, for that kind of violence, that he should be in jail. I think that's what she's getting at here. Maybe not. No, well, maybe she's concerned about the people who got sentences for parading. That's right, parading, you know, carrying a flag around, or nonviolent acts that are somehow called violent because they attacked the Capitol. I mean, this was the most poorly planned insurrection in the history of insurrections, if it was an insurrection, people.
So you disagree with that? He's been saying that for months. Ronna, why not speak out earlier? Why just speak out about that now?
When you're the RNC chair, you kind of take one for the whole team, right? Now I get to be a little bit more myself, right? This is what I believe. I don't think violence should be in our political discourse, Republican or Democrat. And I disagree with that. I agree with him on a whole host of other things. Let's close the border. Let's make sure we have good incomes for people. Let's make sure we do a lot of great things. But on that point, I don't think we should be freeing people who violently attacked Capitol Hill police officers and attacked the Capitol.
See, this is a classic example of why Ronna Romney Botox McDaniel. I mean, seriously, what is going on with her lips? She probably spent money on Botox while she was getting her hair done with RNC donor funds. I mean, I don't know, people. But look, I mean, this gal is so bad for the Republican Party, she can't win an election. Yet she's not bad enough for the freaks at MSNBC. That's right. This out of the Wall Street Journal. NBC's Chuck Todd blasts network as backlash to hiring ex-RNC chief grows. NBC News' Chuck Todd sharply criticized the news organization over its hiring of former Republican National Chairman Ronna McDaniel. The latest sign of the backlash within the company over the high-profile hire, because every disgraced Republican goes to work for CNN, MSNBC, something like that. His remarks come after MSNBC's president, amid internal unrest, signaled to staffers that McDaniel, get this, would not appear on any of the cable channel's original programming, the Wall Street Journal reported on Saturday. This backlash is real. I think our bosses owe you an apology for putting you in this situation, Todd told Kristen Welker on Sunday following her interview with McDaniel on Meet the Press. There's a reason why there's a lot of journalists at NBC News uncomfortable with this, because many of our professional dealings with the RNC over the last 6 years have been met with gaslighting. The people who gaslight talking to us about gaslighting. I'm not kidding. Remember, mostly peaceful protests while a fire is burning in the background. Buildings are being torched. My friend works on the Minneapolis PD. They were taking live rounds by their heads at these mostly peaceful protests. None of that occurred on January 6th, mind you. Todd's remarks followed NBC News' internal announcement Friday that it had hired McDaniel as a contributor. In that internal memo, the political chief, Carrie Budoff Brown, said McDaniel would contribute across all NBC News platforms, causing turmoil among several of the network's on-air hosts and staffers. Rachael Maddow, anyone? People familiar with the matter said MSNBC is part of the NBC News division, because there's nothing quite like a fake news division within a fake news division. Anyways, over the past few days, Rashida Jones, MSNBC's president, has been seeking to address internal backlash in the wake of the internal Friday announcement by NBC News regarding McDaniel's hiring. Jones told employees the cable network has no plans to have McDaniel on the channel, according to people familiar with the conversations. A number of MSNBC anchors and producers have voiced concern internally about McDaniel's ties to former President Donald Trump. The one she couldn't help not win, or couldn't help win. I mean, that one. And the RNC's role in his efforts to challenge the 2020 election results. A representative for McDaniel did not immediately return calls seeking comment. Let me tell you something about the RNC's efforts to address what happened in 2020. The only concern they had was raising money off of it. Do you guys understand that? I mean, honestly, add that in the comments below. Do you understand that their only goal was to raise money? Because that's what it was all about for them. It wasn't addressing the concerns of us, the voters. It was just about raising money. A representative for McDaniel didn't immediately return calls seeking comment. The tensions at NBC News demonstrate how tricky it can be for news networks to hire former politicians and Washington insiders as contributors. A common practice. Oh, tricky. That's right. But it's still a common practice. Very, very tricky stuff here. My gosh. While many hires provide insights into the inner workings of the government, there has been concern about the revolving door between news channels and politicos, as well as partisan politics that creeps into analysis. That's right. Because how are they going to report fairly on the FBI and CIA when everybody who works at those organizations is married to somebody at the news networks? Because that's what it is. For MSNBC, besides the risk of upsetting talent, there is also concern that having McDaniel on could alienate its liberal audience. Its liberal audience should thank her for losing all the time. MSNBC is currently on number 2 on cable news network, trailing Fox News, but ahead of the dying CNN. McDaniel has become a lightning rod in Republican political circles. While she remained close with Trump longer than many of his allies, his advisors have soured over the RNC's role in facilitating a neutral GOP primary, the Wall Street Journal previously reported. No, folks, it wasn't a neutral primary. They had the hacks at NBC, being the moderators of the debate. Come on. Why don't they get some real Well, the RNC is so weak. It just kills me. It really does. I mean, why don't we have Tucker Carlson moderate the Democrat debates? How do you think? Oh, that's right. You can't have any because it's Joe Biden is the only one as determined by the Democrat Party. No, we just needed good debates. We didn't need no debates. Gosh. The prospect of McDaniel appearing on MSNBC was enough to send shockwaves among some media pundits. Jeff Jarvis, a journalism professor at the City University of New York's Journalism School, criticized the hiring on X and urged viewers to push back on social media if she were to appear on MSNBC. Yes, folks, because somebody from the University of New York's Journalism School, they're perfectly straight up, man. Hey, go check out my sponsor, Midas Gold, Midas Gold Group. That's right, MidasGoldGroup.com, or call them at 480-360-3000. You get free silver with a qualifying order if you mention me. Okay? You can also text Lumberjack to 232-425. You're dealing with veteran owners, not commission salespeople. Get yourself some real money. So in times of economic turmoil, in times of this fiat currency we're dealing with, you can have real money. All right, love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight. Peace out.